Hello, and welcome to today's yoga session. My name is Cassandra Struble, and for today's foundational life flow yoga, we are only going to need our mat to begin. So we're going to come down onto our backs, either in our extended mountain, which is just bringing those hands up over our head, and extending our feet out nice and long. Or we can just kind of relax our hands out to the side. Let's go ahead and everybody come into our extended mountain. Just up, reaching our hands into the air. Nice and overhead. Getting to reach till we can feel a nice, good inhale. And exhale. Now let's go ahead and bring our hands slowly onto our chest. We're going to check in with our 3-part breathing. We can choose to leave our legs nice and long, or we can come up into our constructed rest pose. And that's just going to be placing our feet flat on the floor. Knees are going to be bent. It doesn't matter how close our heels are to our bottom, just as long as we are comfortable. And then to place our hands on our upper chest, we can either stack one hand on top of the other, or we can also choose to just interlace our thumbs and rest them on our chest, kind of like they are wings. So as we are choosing, we're just going to allow our hands to be some extra weight. So as we inhale, we're going to expand and open up our chest. And as we exhale, thinking about allowing our shoulders to slowly melt down into the earth. Taking our time here to allow our minds to connect. Let go of our day, connect with our mat. And as we're beginning to slowly begin that 3-part breath, we want to make sure that we are just breathing in a consistent manner, meaning we can be inhaling through our nose, exhaling through our mouth, or any combination of the two, just as long as the length of our breath is the same on the inhale and the exhale. And again, each time we exhale, really thinking about relaxing our back. Each inhale, thinking about our ribs lifting up and expanding. Beginning to give a nice rhythm to that breath. And then on our next exhale, let's go ahead and take our hands down to our middle belly. So we're going to allow those thumbs to touch, pointer fingers to touch. We're going to allow for our thumbs to rest up underneath our rib cage, so it's just that middle belly part. So that as we're beginning to add our breath onto our upper chest, we're now going to start to inhale so we can feel our middle belly expand. Now at the same time, we can also set our elbows onto the earth and just kind of rest them on our rib cage as we inhale and exhale, whatever's most comfortable. If we're placing our hands on our stomach, we're just taking the time to really settle our elbows down. And again, keeping with that same pattern of breath, really paying attention to our inhale. The same amount of attention to our exhale. Just bringing our mind onto our mat. Again, feeling that exhale as we shift down towards the earth. Just as if we can feel our back kind of settling onto our mats. Now the third part of our breath is we're going to bring our hands down to our lower bellies. So we're going to allow for our thumbs to touch and our pointer fingers to touch. And we're going to allow those thumbs to rest on, above, or below our belly button, wherever it is comfortable. Elbows relaxed to our sides. And we can always rest our hands on our hips here, our elbows down to the side, whatever is most comfortable. And we're going to start to bring our breath all the way down to our hips. So thinking about our breath coming in, traveling down from our heart to our belly button to our hips, and then watching at the same speed, exhaling out. So with our breath, we're just beginning to notice a little bit about the pattern of our breath, just thinking as we are flowing today. Remember to stick with that breath as we move. So allowing for each inhale to maybe be one movement and our exhale to be the other. With each breath, we want to feel our back connected. And on our next exhale, let's go ahead and take our hands down to our side. We're going to allow for our hands to be either resting on our palms or the back of our hands, whatever is most comfortable. And we're going to give a little pelvis tilt here. So for our pelvis tilt, we're keeping our upper back on the mat. We're keeping all of our back on the mat for the most part. So we're just going to tilt that pelvis up towards the sky. And as we exhale, we're going to tilt it down towards the earth. Now here's the thing, when we are tilting down towards the earth, we want to make sure that we are not creating an arch in that lower back, because that's kind of counterproductive here, so that when we're coming up in our pelvis tilt, we're pressing all of our back onto our mat as we're tilting down. If we're not traveling a huge distance, we want to really take our time in that pelvis tilt and being present on our mat. Really allowing for each breath again to be the rhythm of that flow. We can always close our eyes if we choose. Now coming back to center, let's go ahead and bring our right knee into our chest. So we're going to bring our hands either on the back of our thigh. We just want to make sure we're not placing our hand on the top of our knee and pressing that knee into us, or more kind of gripping. Our other foot is going to go nice and long on our mat. We're going to point that toe towards the wall. Now their knee into our chest. We want to think about our knee coming up towards the crown of our head, not across our body or into our chest. We want to think about lengthening from the bottom of our bottoms all the way up to the back of our knee. Nice big stretch. And we're going to begin to move around with our toes and ankles ever so slowly. Maybe we're going in a little circle here. Maybe we're zigzagging our feet or windshield wipering. Maybe we're just wiggling our toes a little bit. As we're doing this, we're really still thinking about keeping that knee coming up toward our crown. So we've got to keep our mind focused on the activity as well as the nice lengthening. Now let's go ahead and inhale that leg straight up into the sky. We can bring our hands anywhere that's comfortable on the back of our leg. And as we bring that leg up towards the sky, let's get a little point and flex. Now, again, not a big movement here. So we really want to slow this time down, allowing it to match our breath. Now, as we inhale and we exhale, there's no this has to go this way. We just want to create that pattern. Each time that we're really reaching with our heel, really reaching with our toe. And if we can even slow it down with our breath. And let's go ahead and slowly bring that leg down towards the earth. We're going to inhale our left knee into our chest. And as we do that again, we want to think about taking a nice big inhale, tightening that belly and allowing for that knee to lengthen up to that thigh. Taking the crown of our head up, or taking our knee up towards the crown of our head. And then again, we're going to move around in our ankles and toes here. And maybe we can do some circles here. Maybe we really want a windshield wiper with that foot. Maybe we want to wiggle our toes, or maybe bend them out and flex them, track them, expand them. Just noticing any tension, bringing our breath there. Now let's go ahead and inhale that leg straight up towards the sky. We're going to begin just a gentle point and flex. So inhaling, reaching either our heel or our toe. And on the exhale, switching. And each time we come up to the top, really thinking about reaching as far as we can, expanding through the back of our knee. Now let's go ahead and relax that foot down towards the earth. And again, we're going to inhale those hands over our head for a nice big extended mountain. Really trying to reach as far as we can. And then as we are reaching, let's kind of press all of our back onto the mat. And then as we are pressing that back onto the mat, let's begin to bring our feet up the edges of our mat. So we're going to come into a constructive rest with our feet. Feet are going to be placed on the mat. Knees are bent, but our feet are going to be resting on the edge of our mat. I guess is a better way to say that. Now, once we come here, we're just going to begin to rock our knees from side to side. So inhaling to the middle, exhaling to one side. Now we still have those hands up over our head. And we're just taking our time as we come through the middle here. Now, as we are moving and shifting side to side, again, thinking about that breath, inhaling one direction, and exhaling the other. Maybe noticing each time that we come up through the middle, we can get a little bit of length through our spine. So maybe we can try to reach from our hips to our belly button as we're moving through the center, thinking about creating a little bit more length. And then coming through, maybe the next time, can we kind of create a little bit more length between our belly button and the bottoms of our ribs. Maybe the next time as we're coming through, thinking about extending between our ribs and our heart. So really lengthening all the way through our upper back. Nice and big movements. Let's go ahead and slow that knee rocking down just a little bit more. Really taking our time to feel our back, kind of pressing on that mat as we're moving. Feeling that nice slow shift. We might have a little bit of shake there. That's just because our legs want to either speed up or slow down. Nice good stretch to our psoas muscle here. So let's go ahead and slowly bring our hands down shoulder height. We're still rocking those legs nice and slow. And we're going to bend our elbows into 90-degree angles, kind of like those little cactus arms. And as we come into our cactus arms, we're going to slow down that rocking even more. So here's where our psoas muscle or our fight or flight muscle either wants to fight or flight. Hard for it to relax, and that's where that shaking might come from. So really kind of slowing down that movement, acknowledging how we can feel it coming across our hips up through our shoulders, and then feeling all of our back on our mats resting. And we can kind of slowly press from side to side, really thinking about everything, just resting and moving. Maybe even pressing our middle back and our shoulder blades. Pressing all of the back of our arms. Nice rounding movements. Now let's go ahead and slowly walk our legs just a little bit wider than our mats. We can keep our hands in our cactus position. And we're going to bring our knees together and apart nice and slow. So really not allowing for momentum to take over here. We just want to think about that nice gradual Inhale and exhale, just dictating that movement nice and slow. And here we're kind of working on our outer and inner hips, just creating a little bit of movement. We can feel all the way up through our back though, how we can have some muscles involved in this action. Just bringing awareness where we are on our mats. Now let's slowly bring our feet back to that constructive rest pose. We're gonna walk our heels back towards our bottom just a little bit. We're gonna come into kind of a flowing bridge. Now for our flowing bridge, we really wanna think about what we're using here. Our hands can rest down, palms down towards the earth. But as we're beginning our flow, let's begin a flowing bridge. We're gonna really engage our bottoms and our quads to kind of get that flow going. So as we inhale, just to start out, we're not gonna come up very high. We're gonna squeeze our bottoms. We're just gonna kind of build on this bridge. Our lower back is just kind of along for the ride. We're just squeezing our bottom up. And if at any point we wanna walk our heels back closer to our bottom because it helps press, absolutely feel free to adjust. Now let's go ahead and start squeezing our quad muscles as we're coming up. So squeezing our bottom, squeezing those quads. Maybe noticing a little bit of difference that that's creating with our bridge here. Kind of flowing with it. Now let's kind of tighten that belly. So think about as we are lifting with our quads and our bottoms, we're gonna squeeze that belly. And as we're squeezing our belly, we're gonna notice maybe some weight starting to lift off of the ground, keeping our shoulders nice and pressed. Now let's go ahead and make sure our hands are pressed down to the earth. Let's meet up in our bridge. So really beginning to press with those thighs, squeezing our bottom thighs, that belly, thinking about maybe coming up on our shoulder blades. Now let's go ahead and exhale, slowly lowering down towards the earth. We're gonna bring our knees into our chest here, nice and slow. Now as we bring our knees into our chest, our ankles don't have to cross. We just wanna make sure that again, we're not pressing on the top of our knees, we're hooking somewhere behind the back of our knees. And then once we come into our knees to chest, we can begin to give a little rocking from side to side here, kind of taking our time as we're moving. And all we want to do here as we are moving from side to side is really think about our breath, inhaling one direction and exhaling the other. Look at any type of pattern here. And let's slowly go in a circle. Whatever speed we would like. We can inhale one direction, and exhale the other. Taking our time, letting go of anything we've brought to our mats that's no longer serving us. Letting go of any expectations we have. Now let's slowly switch directions with our legs. Bringing those knees into our chest in a way. And again, our circles can be as big or as small or as fast or as slow, just as long as we're kind of creating that rhythm. Now let's come back to the center here. We're gonna bring our hands back behind our head. We're gonna get a little bit of a crunch here. Now, if we want to, we can always place our feet on the mat as well. But as we're coming up for our crunch, there's a couple things that I always like to remind people. When our hands are coming back, we're not trying to use those to pull ourselves up. When we are placing our hands behind our head, they're just a guide. So as we inhale, it's that chin that's coming up towards the sky. We want to leave a little bit of space between our chin and our chest so we can breathe. So as we inhale and we come up into that crunch, we want to take as much time as we exhale down. Now all that's guiding us up here is that crunching of our abs. We can even start to crunch those lower abs maybe. That's going to bring those knees a little further. However, all of our back is staying on the mat. Well, all of our middle back and lower back. And again, we don't have to do them really fast. We can find a nice pace so that we can just feel those abs slowly being the focus. And let's go ahead and exhale down towards the earth. And we're going to bring our hands back behind our knees one more time. We're going to move a little bit from side to side here. And then taking our feet down towards the earth. Let's go ahead, come back into that constructed rest pose. We're going to take our right heel onto our left knee. And as we are doing so, we're going to allow for that right knee to kind of open up. We want to take it away from our belly as we're opening up here. Toes are going to point back towards our knee. And as we are laying here in our supine 4, we really want to think about actively engaging that hip to kind of press away. But also staying with a pattern of breath where we can breathe. Sometimes when we get into our hips, it's really easy to lose track of that breath or hold our breath. Nice big stretch. Now let's go ahead and slowly switch feet. So bringing our right foot down to the earth. That left heel is going to come up onto our right knee, opening up that left hip. Toes are going to point back towards our knee. And then we're going to begin to press that knee away from our belly, opening up that hip. Toes are pointing back towards our knee. So really flexing through that heel. And again, actively thinking in the supine 4 about really engaging to press that knee away from our belly. So let's go ahead and come back to the center. We're going to do another crunch here. So our feet are going to rest. We're going to come into that constructive rest pose. Feet are resting on the mat. Knees are bent. We're going to bring our hands up behind our head. This time we're going to do a little pulsing action. We're going to come straight up. We're going to pulse our abs 3 times and we're going to lower back down. However, we're going to do it with a nice control. So inhale, we're just squeezing that upper part of our abs. And then we're going to just give a little pulse here, just 3 gentle squeezes and exhaling down. So this is really focusing on this upper part of our ribs, of our abs. So as we are coming and going, where this is one of those ones where we don't want to scoop our back around. We really want to think more about, again, bringing that chin up towards the sky before we begin those pulses. That's going to really focus right there on that space below our chest. So inhaling up, we can either hold our breath or continue to breath through those 3 little crunches there at top. And then we can exhale and lower down. I sometimes like to hold my breath at the top before I exhale. We just want to, again, make sure that we're doing it with a consistent breath to match. There's no right or wrong way to breathe in these postures. And if we notice something getting out of rhythm, we're just allowing ourselves to acknowledge and let it go. And just come back to, again, that simple flow. So coming back down towards the earth, let's go ahead and come into all 4s. We can choose to either roll to the side to come onto all 4s, or we can choose to use a little bit of momentum and rock ourselves as we come into all 4s. Let's go ahead and just check with our posture here. We're going to do our cat-cow, so we want to make sure that hip is over our knee. We want to make our hands nice and wide, starfish fingers on both sides. And then we want to make sure that our elbows, shoulders, and wrists are in line. And let's just take a second here to kind of feel the mat with our fingertips. Nice big grip with our mat. We notice we can kind of twist our hands here as we're in that cat-cow. We want to stabilize them. And we're going to take a nice big inhale, dropping that belly down towards the earth. And as we exhale, we want to round through our back. Nice big stretch. Inhaling, crunching that back up. And exhaling, nice big stretch through it, letting our head hang. Just slow. Taking our time as we move through our cat-cow. This is a posture that if we come to a cat or a cow and it just feels right, taking the time maybe to just explore it. We don't have to automatically exhale and breathe. We can stay up here and take a couple breaths. Kind of noticing anything in our spine, really allowing that to set our pace. Now from here, from our cat-cow, we're going to add to that cat-cow, we're going to add a barrel roll. So we're going to inhale our bellies down for that cat, really our cow, really stretching up our breath. We're going to shift our hips to one side, and then as we exhale, we're going to come into our cat. Then we're going to shift that breath again to the other side. Rock back to our cow. Coming to our side, holding that breath. Exhaling into our cat. Holding our breath as we shift again. Inhaling in through our cow. So really thinking about that big barrel roll through our middle belly. Just using that shift through our hips. And again, whatever pace we are going, that is fine. That is the breath we are using today. Now when we are ready, let's go ahead and switch directions with that barrel roll. Nice big movements through that midsection. Thinking about each inhale, crunching that back. As we're moving through those hips, we can shift as much as is comfortable. And we can slowly come back to the center. Now let's go ahead and give our wrists a break here. For our first one, we are going to do our puppy dog. So for our puppy dog, we are coming down onto our forearms. This is kind of a version of our down dog. It's good because we can kind of feel where our hips should be in that down dog. So our knees haven't moved really, but we're going to interlace those fingers. And the first thing we can do is start pressing back on those forearms. So noticing that if we use our forearms to press, it's going to press that bottom back towards the wall behind us. Now, as it's pressing back towards that wall behind us, we're not thinking about tucking that tail. We're actually thinking about lengthening that tail out towards the wall behind us. So almost as if we had our hands on our hips and we are pulling ourselves back towards the wall. Now our head can stay in line here with our puppy dog, or we can go and exhale, dropping it down in between our arms. However, we're pressing with that forearm, really lengthening through our spine here in our puppy dog. Let's go ahead and inhale. We're going to slowly come back up into our spinal balance. For our spinal balance, we're going to start with our left leg. So let's go ahead and inhale. We're going to squeeze our bottom, squeeze our thigh, point with that toe nice and big. We're going to inhale that right hand up, and we're really going to reach in the opposite direction. Now, as we're here in our spinal balance, you can think about reaching, but also thinking about bringing that belly button up to our spine. Does it change that spinal balance so we feel stronger? We can be looking down at our mat or out towards our fingertips. And let's drop that right hand down onto our mat. That left foot is going to drop onto the ball of our foot. And we're going to press back into that heel. This is another one, thinking about our palms, really using our palms to press back into the ball of our foot, stretching through our heel for a calf stretch here. Inhaling, coming back up into all fours. Let's go ahead and extend our foot out nice and long, that right foot, thinking about touching the wall with our toes, squeezing that bottom, squeezing that thigh. Inhaling that left hand up, reaching in opposite directions. Bringing our belly buttons up to our spine, really thinking about tightening everything to that midsection. Our hand is looking down. We're out of our fingertips. Exhaling, dropping that left hand down. We're going to come on to the right ball of our foot. And we're going to use our palms to press back towards that heel. And let's go ahead and slowly come into a child's pose. So taking our knees out as wide as our mat. And we can bring our feet about our toes together if we choose. And we're going to allow for our bottoms to begin to sink back towards our heels. Now here with our hands, we can either bring one forearm and then stack the other forearm on top. Rest our head, taking that bottom back towards our tail. Or we can choose to stack one fist on top of the other fist. This is always my favorite. And resting our head on those fists, that will allow for our back to relax so we can feel that shift of our bottom back. We can also extend our hands out nice and long and bring our forehead down to the earth. But again, we're going to be pressing back, keeping that tail coming back towards our heels. Or we can always place a block underneath our forehead. So taking a moment here to choose the right child's pose. Let's take a couple nice breaths here. Feeling that inhaling through our nose. Nice big exhaling through our mouth. Now let's go ahead and inhale. We're going to slowly bring those knees back underneath us where they were. We're going to settle that bottom back towards our heels, and then we're going to extend our hands out nice and long. So this is one of those things when we're talking about our down dog, I always like to point out that when we're in our child's pose and our hands are nice and extended, we can kind of grip the mat. We can also start to turn our fingers toward each other. However, this is the natural length of where our down dog should begin. So when we take a nice full inhale in that down dog, we're going to slowly lift that bottom up. Toes are going to come underneath. As we inhale, we're lifting that bottom back towards the wall behind us. We're going to use our hands to push us back. Now, as we are looking down at our feet, we're going to allow our head just to hang. All of our weight is going to come into that bottom. It's almost as if we want to sink that weight into our heels to really lengthen through the back of our legs. Our head again is just hanging. Hands are pressing us back in that down dog. Nice big length through that spine. So let's go ahead and inhale, looking up at our hands. We're just going to walk our hands and our feet together. Again, all of our weight should still be in our bottom and in our feet. Now, as we come up, we're going to come into that forward fold. For our forward fold, a couple things to think about. First things first, let's take a nice big inhale and allow for that belly to settle on our thighs. Let's take a moment here to just shift our hips from side to side, seeing if we can kind of lengthen up the back of our legs here in our forward fold. And we want to think about bringing the crown of our head down towards the earth here. Also good to also allow our hands to fall wherever they lay. So even if maybe we're not touching the ground today or we're tight, we can just allow those hands to touch our legs, kind of taking that pressure off of our shoulders and bringing it into the length. So again, let's go ahead and inhale and see if we can bring that bottom up to the sky just a little bit more. That's going to allow that crown to come forward. Now let's place our hands gently on our shins. We're going to press on those shins and look up for our monkey. And let's go ahead and exhale back to that forward fold. Now let's go ahead and bring our hands back onto our calves. And as we bring ourselves onto our calves, let's go ahead and press our belly onto our thighs here. And again, this is going to lengthen up that back part of our hamstrings. It's also going to allow for the top of our heads to come down. Now taking and releasing our hands from behind our calves. Nice big inhale. We're going to allow for our hands to come up around our body, reaching all the way up to the sky and bringing our hands into heart center. So let's go ahead and start at the top of our mat. And as we come up to the top of our mat, let's go ahead. We're going to get a little bit of some movement here. So for our movement tonight, we're going to do our free bird. So for our free bird, first things first, we're going to use our warrior one. So for our warrior one, we're going to step 1 foot back and we're going to turn that back foot out. That front knee is going to be nice and bent. Now our hips, chest, and shoulders are going to turn over that front leg. So we're in a nice, solid stance here. Now for our warrior one, we can either put our hands in the air or we can bring our hands to the side. A nice big stretch through those fingers. All of our foundation is going to be here in those thighs. And again, hips, shoulders, and chest are facing forward. Now let's go ahead and press off with our back foot, come up to meet our other foot. And for the sake of getting into our free bird, let's give ourselves a little hug here and then release. Now let's step that other foot back into our warrior one, turning that back foot out, bringing up into that front knee, turning our hips, chest, and shoulders over that front leg. And then we're going to inhale our hands for this purpose out to the sides. So feeling that connection, we can adjust our feet as we need to here in our warrior one. Now pressing off of that back foot, we're going to step up to the top of our mat. This time giving ourselves a hug, we're going to switch the hand on top. So we're going to begin to flow nice and slow that way. So stepping that right foot back, opening up that foot, opening up our hands for our warrior one. Pressing up, coming up to our mountain, giving ourselves a hug, and then taking a step back on that other side into our warrior one. Now here the only trick as we begin to flow is switching that hand on top. So we're going to just step back into that warrior one, and we're going to come up, give ourselves a hug. Now, my best bit of advice for somebody who has no balance would be only to step back as far as we are balanced. So feeling around and what that balance means, it's different every day. Just honoring anything that we notice, acknowledging and letting it go. So again, just stepping back into that warrior one, nice big opening with our hands, coming up and hugging, stepping back other side, switching that hand on top, making all of our brain work and all of our body work here. Thinking about stepping back strong in that warrior one before we step up. Now let's go ahead and come up to the top of our mat. And then we're going to step wide again. So we're going to come into the middle of our mat. We're going to take our feet nice and wide. And we're going to come out with our hands nice and outstretched. And then we're going to begin to come into a moonflower flow. So as we're in our 5-pointed star, reaching all different directions with our hands and our feet, we're going to begin to inhale, and we're going to settle that bottom back into a little squat, and our knees are going to stay over those ankles. And then we're going to exhale and explode out like a blooming flower. So just to turn to the side so you can see a 5-pointed star, we're just bringing that bottom back into a nice big squat. Exhaling, lifting out. Now here's the thing, if we want to add a little bit more to that moonflower, we can really squeeze that bottom as we come up and making it work just a little bit harder. And of course, we can also float that moonflower. So again, as we are exhaling, we are bringing those elbows in. And as we're inhaling, we're exploding out. Now coming back into our 5-pointed star, let's go ahead and drop our hands down. We're going to do a sunflower here. So the only difference is if we want to adjust our feet, we can. Securing our feet towards the earth, we're going to reach up with our hands towards the sky. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge with those hips. Nice big forward fold. We're going to allow for those hands to sweep. And as we inhale, that breath is going to bring us up. As we exhale, that stomach is going to allow us to lower. Nice big inhale. Squeezing that belly is going to bring us up. Now our back is just along for the ride. So we don't want to feel like we're trying to fling ourselves in that forward fold. We really want to think about that breath. Inhaling, exhaling up. Now let's go ahead and come and meet back up into our standing position. We are going to walk our feet together here. Feet are going to face each other. They're going to look straight to us. And then we're going to bring that big toe in about the width of one big toe. And then we're going to inhale those shoulders over our feet. So we want to feel as if our shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles are all in one solid line for our mountain. Now for our mountain hands, we can bring our hands out to our side, or we can relax them down at our side. But whichever we are choosing, we really want to think about a nice big exhale to relax those shoulders away from our ears. Actively releasing them down towards the earth, thinking about straightening up that spine, lengthening as far as we can. Taking a moment to feel our breath shifting, just as if we were on the floor. Nice, strong mountain posture here. Now let's go ahead and take our right ear towards our right shoulder, allowing for those shoulders to relax down towards the earth. And reaching and stretching. Now let's go ahead and bring our chin down towards the center. We want to allow for some space to be between our chin and our chest, and those shoulders to really relax down towards the earth. This is going to kind of stretch up through that upper neck. And then taking it to the other side with that ear. Nice big exhale, shoulders coming away from our ears. And our ears trying to chase it almost. Now inhaling, coming back to center. Let's go ahead and work with our shoulders here. So just taking those shoulders in a little circle. Nothing really big. Now our shoulder circles can be as big or as small as we would like them to be, but we just don't want to overthink them. Just kind of moving through, maybe closing our eyes, kind of feeling that tracing with our shoulders. Really kind of seeing our body moving here. Do we notice anything as we're moving through our shoulders? Now slowly switching directions with those shoulders. And this might require us to slow it down a little bit, just because we're going in a different direction. Now slowly coming back to the middle, let's take our hands in a little circle here. Nice and slow, slowing it down. For as much speed as our hands and our fingers always require. Let's take a moment here just to move through those circles. And let's go ahead and switch directions with those fingers. And again, this is going to force us to slow down. And then slowly bringing our hands to our sides. We can step one foot out. We just want to stand in a comfortable stance. We're going to rock around our body. So for that, we're just going to twist to one side then the other. And as we're doing this, we want to think about our hands just gently tapping us as we're handing side to side. We can also aim to hit for places that with tension that I feel like we need to get that spot in our back. That's what bothers us. Swing it up, however you want to do. However, thinking about just twisting around that spine, noticing how our whole body is just allowing for that flow. That nice gentle tap allows us to know that it's about to shift and change. And then slowly allowing our bodies to come back to center, nice and slow, nice and naturally. And then as we come back to center, let's go ahead and take a step back up to the top of our mats. As we come up to the top of our mats, looking down at our toes, just making sure again that they are facing forward. We're going to inhale our hands up over our head. We're going to interlace those first three fingers. Pointer finger is going to go up, thumb is back, also Charlie's Angel's hand. We're going to really reach with those pointer fingers. And then as we're reaching, let's lengthen each of our vertebrae just a little further up, all the way from our hips to our fingertips. And then once we get there, we can't reach any further. Let's just take a nice slow tilt with our ribs around that spine, side, side. Inhaling one way, exhaling the other. Now as we exhale, keeping our legs together, let's go ahead, bringing our hands into heart center. We're going to settle our bottom back into our chair. So squeezing with our hips and thighs here, squeezing all of those big muscles. We can bring our hands into our hearts, really pressing our feet into the earth. Thighs are squeezing together. Now let's go ahead and bring our hands out to shoulder height, and then we're going to reach in the opposite direction of our body. So our bottom is coming back, hands are reaching forward. And then exhale, let's go ahead and forward fold, hinging at our hips. We're going to go ahead and slowly walk our feet back into our down dog. And again, for that down dog, we really want to feel our hands pressing our body back towards our waist and towards our hips. We can lift one heel and then lower the other, kind of walking our dog. And let's go ahead and exhale, slowly coming down onto our knees. We're going to make our way all the way down onto our belly. And as we come down to our belly, let's go ahead, palms are going to face up. We're going to come into our locust. We're going to come into our locust though nice and slow. So first things first, let's focus on that bottom part of our body. We're going to squeeze that bottom together, and then we're going to squeeze those thighs. And as we squeeze, we're going to squeeze our belly, crunch that back. That's going to begin to lift those hands towards our feet. Nice big hold here in our locust. All of that body crunching and connecting is holding us up now on our back. And exhale, lower down. Let's take a little rest here. We'll do one more. We can shake out our legs if we want to. We can move around in our butts if we want to. Whatever we need to do. Kind of get that tension before we tensile up again. Let's go ahead and start down here. So squeezing that butt, squeezing our thighs, lengthening through to our toes, squeezing that belly. Palms are face up into our locust. Nice big breath here. Now let's go ahead and exhale. And we're going to bring those hands around front. We're going to place one forearm and then the other, and we're gonna rest our head onto those forearms. Let's take a few nice breaths here with that forehead resting on our forearms. Now let's go ahead and turn our head to one side, and we're gently gonna press that head onto our arms here. Just kind of getting a little bit extra neck stretch. And then inhaling, shifting our head to the other direction, beginning to press. And let's go ahead and slowly come in for a baby cobra. So we're just gonna bring our hands next to our shoulders, resting on the mat. And as we inhale, we're gonna squeeze those shoulder blades together, opening up our chest. Nice big heart opener here. And let's go ahead and exhale, slowly lowering back down. So we're gonna go ahead and slowly come over onto our backs. And as we make our way onto our backs, let's go ahead and bring those knees into our chest one more time. And here, as we bring those knees into our chest, let's kind of do anything that we feel in this moment. So as we're closing our eyes, do we want to shift? Do we want to go in a circle? Do we want to be playful and do whatever we want? So just maybe taking a moment here to connect with our root, feeling ourselves connected again to our mats. Now let's go ahead and slowly, we're going to allow our knees to fall nice and wide to our side. So our hands are still hinged between those knees, but we're just allowing for our hips to kind of fall open here. Now as those hips fall open, we can go ahead and reach for our ankles here if we would like, our heels, our toes, even our pant legs. We're just gonna allow for those feet to come up to our sides. Hips in nice or wide, they kind of fall open here. This is our happy baby. So again, we can be hooked up here any way we would like. Once we come into that happy baby, we're gonna move around a little bit. So however we'd like to move, we can kind of rock our legs around. And then coming back to center, let's go ahead and just take our feet up, straight up in the air, hands to our sides. Nice big breaths here. And then exhale, releasing our feet down towards the earth. And as we are ready, let's begin to find our final resting pose. So let's go ahead and choose whether we would like to be in that extended mountain, which is just reaching our hands overhead and our feet out nice and long. Or we can choose to maybe come into our constructive rest pose. Or we can choose to just lay and come all the way down towards the earth. But whatever we choose today, let's take a moment to kind of settle in. Move around in our shoulders and our back, just kind of pressing it in towards the earth. And then let's take a moment to breathe and bring body awareness from head to toe. So as we take our next inhale, bringing it down all the way to our toes. And then once we get that breath to our toes, let's slowly think about just letting go of everything coming through up our body. So just relaxing, letting our hips settle, our ankles, letting our shoulders, letting our hands let go. Slowly coming back to that breath that we started with, that nice, slow and simple inhale and exhale. And for our practice tonight, we're just going to slowly bring awareness around our body. So as I mentioned a body part, we just want to bring our mind to that place, and we want to be aware of the way we feel, and we want to let it go. So as I'm going through the different body parts, you can repeat them back to yourself slowly, or you can just listen. That is up to you. So let's go ahead and we're going to first start with our right hand. So let's go ahead, relaxing our hand. Let's bring our awareness to our right thumb, our second finger, our third finger, our fourth finger, our fifth finger, the palm of our hand, becoming aware of the back of our hand, our wrist, our lower arm, our right elbow, our upper arm, our shoulder, our armpit, the right wrist, our right hip, right thigh, our right kneecap, our right calf, our right ankle, our right heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Now let's slowly come down our left side. So let's become aware of our left hand, bringing attention to our left thumb, our second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, palm of our hand, back of our hand, our left wrist, our lower arm, our elbow, our upper arm, our shoulder, our armpit, our left wrist, our left hip, our left thigh, our left kneecap, our left calf, our left ankle, our left heel, sole of our left foot, top of our foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Now let's bring our awareness to all of our back. Feeling all of our back touching the mat. Being aware of our right shoulder blade, our left shoulder blade, our right cheek, and our left cheek, our spine, and our whole back. And let's start at the top of our head, moving to our forehead, relaxing both temples, relaxing the space between our eyebrows, relaxing the top of our head, our right eyebrow, our left eyebrow, relaxing the space again between our eyes, our right eyelid, our left eyelid, our right eye, our left eye, our right ear, our left ear, our right cheek, and our left cheek. Relaxing our nose, relaxing our upper lip, our lower lip, relaxing where our ears and our throat meet, relaxing our jaw, relaxing our chin, Relaxing our tongue. Relaxing the front of our bodies, letting it melt, and coming back to our breath. Just noticing it flowing in and out. Coming back to just noticing that natural breath. Noticing how it occurs effortlessly, naturally. And just become aware as we're slowly coming back. We're just beginning to maybe move around our fingers and toes. Maybe moving our wrists as we're listening to that breath in the space around us. And let's go ahead and slowly begin to open our eyes, making our way, slowly becoming awake and moving to any easy seated posture of our choice. And as we come to that easy seated posture, as we bring our hands into our heart center, let's take 3 nice breaths to finish. So nice big inhale through our nose. And on our third exhale, just allowing ourselves to be present in this moment, to be aware of how our mind and our body has shifted. Allow ourselves to feel the peace and the calm around us. As always, I thank you for coming. Peace.